That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, a couple things before we get into the video. One, I am very sorry about the change of scenery. I know this video quality is probably a lot worse than usual, but I had to travel across the country to see my family for the holidays. So yeah, this is what we're going to be dealing with for pretty much the next week. And secondly, I'm sorry for everybody who reached out to me on Patreon over the 3-day span where I was traveling. Y'all know I get back to you every single day on Patreon, but because of the weird circumstances, I was not able to get back to a lot of people for a couple days, and I am very sorry about that. I will try to give a better heads up on those days where I will be unavailable in the future. And yeah, that's it. I hope that everybody had a fantastic week 15. A small accountability check. It looks like we are going to be in the championship game out of 7 out of our 15 high stakes leagues. These are leagues where anywhere from a buy-in of $60 to $200, and every league is anywhere from 12 to 16 teams. So yeah, looks like we had a fantastic 2020. I hope you did as well. Let me know what your score was and what you need to win your week 15 matchup in the YouTube comments. But now let's get into this video and let's talk about 10 lessons learned from week 15 in fantasy football. And our first lesson learned is David Montgomery is truly going to win leagues. I mean, David Montgomery coming out here for the 3rd straight week, 32 carries, 162 yards, a reception, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you look at the production that we've received from David Montgomery over the past month, it has truly been elite. I mean, there have been almost no players in the entire NFL that have given you the same output as David Montgomery in the past 4 weeks. And I really want to reiterate, guys, I want to use this as a lesson for the future. Where y'all know about a month ago, I came on here and I said that David Montgomery was a fantastic buy low candidate. This was with him coming back from injury after the Cordell Patterson game. And I had so many people telling me, Mason, you don't know what you're talking about. David Montgomery is a horrible running back. He will never be productive. And I said, yes, he is a bad running back. He is a below average starting NFL running back. But what matters is the volume that he is receiving in his offense combined with his rest of season schedule. So guys, I really want to beat this down because I've talked about it for the past month with David Montgomery, a running back that I did not like the talent profile of, but I was a lot higher than consensus on him in fantasy football once we got the Tariq Cohen injury because of the opportunity that he should have. At the running back position, talent can only take you so far. Really, what matters most at the running back spot is the volume that you are going to get, and that is mainly determined by talent. That's where I believe that talent comes into play. And on top of that, the schedule and the matchups that you have. And here, that's exactly what we saw with David Montgomery. I know a lot of people in the comment section right now are going to be telling me that I'm disrespecting David Montgomery. These are the same people who a month ago told me that David Montgomery would never be a productive NFL running back. Well, here we are. We've come full circle. I think the lesson learned here is do not overvalue our perceived talent of the running backs that we are playing. Please try to focus in on the projection for their workload combined with the game flow in their offense. All right, so now our next lesson learned in week 15 is it looks like Tony Pollard may be a better fantasy running back than Ezekiel Elliott. And right away, when Ezekiel Elliott was benched, y'all know if you were in the live stream this morning, we were all in on Tony Pollard. I mean, I don't know how many people we told to play Tony Pollard. I was telling people to play Tony Pollard over J.K. Dobbins, Raheem Mostert, pretty much any running back that you could think of because our thought process behind it was without Ezekiel Elliott in this offense, Tony Pollard was going to have pretty much every single snap. He was going to be getting every single touch out of this backfield just because they really have no other running backs on the roster, where we were definitely valuing Tony Pollard higher than we were Ezekiel Elliott coming into the week, because you understand when you take one of those running backs out of the situation, we would have seen Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard splitting the backfield, but then it turned into Tony Pollard being a workhorse running back, also having 6 receptions. I mean, congrats to anybody who played Tony Pollard. Currently the running back 1 for week 15 in fantasy football at the time of this recording. Really hope that maintains because so many people will be advancing to their championship round based on the performance that they got from a Tony Pollard. All right, so now our next running back we're going to talk about is someone that I am going to 100% admit I undervalue them. I mean, with Salvon Ahmed, I did not think that he was going to come into this offense without Myles Gaskin and just be a feature down running back. But that is exactly what he was. And right now, it looks like Myles Gaskin could potentially miss Week 16. Really, there's no incentive for them to rush Myles Gaskin back from the COVID list. And there was no question of him even playing in Week 15. So I think at this point, we look at Salvon Ahmed being a running back that is going to be a 3-down bell cow for the Miami Dolphins in Week 16 if we have no Myles Gaskin. I mean, something that we overlooked, something that I really did not want to buy into, did not like the matchup, did not like the situation, but he came through. All right, so now our next lesson learned, my favorite thing to talk about in this video, Jalen Hurts is elite. Guys, this is something that I have been talking about all season now, and I think people are finally starting to understand. These rushing quarterbacks in fantasy football are truly difference makers. I mean, you are very rarely going to find a quarterback that is going to provide you that kind of rushing equity in his offense. And what I said in the live stream this morning, why I was drafting Jalen Hurts in every single Dynasty Superflex rookie draft in 2020 was because that rushing equity. We know if he's going to go out there and consistently rush for 60 yards and a touchdown like he did today, that is going to give him a floor and ceiling combination that a player like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, these pocket passing quarterbacks simply cannot match. I don't know how many times I have to go through this, but 63 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown at the quarterback position is equivalent to 300 passing yards. So anything the quarterback then gives you on top of that is literally just gravy on that baseline of rushing production. It is a cheat code. This is how we saw Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson all break fantasy football at some points. I mean, this is something that we need to monitor going forward. And our next lesson learned is going to be just that. I mean, Josh Allen is just as elite as these other quarterbacks at the top of the NFL. I mean, he's in that same range of a Patrick Mahomes. And the reason is that rushing production. I mean, in this game, seeing 2 rushing touchdowns, we know that's equivalent to 3 passing touchdowns if you're playing in a 4-point passing touchdown league, which I'm assuming most of us are. Guys, please do not overlook these rushing quarterbacks in fantasy drafts in 2021 because it looks like if you want that elite ceiling, your quarterback is going to be able to have to rush the ball. But now, something else I am extremely excited to talk about, a player who won me so much money this weekend, Calvin Ridley. It looks like Calvin Ridley is truly that top 5 option, like I've said every single week without Julio Jones. I mean, Calvin Ridley coming out here, I think right now he's the highest scoring wide receiver on the week at the time of this recording. I mean, this is just what I said with Calvin Ridley once Julio Jones was ruled out, that he was going to be a top 5 option. I mean, I think you just look at that overall offense, know that they are going to be able to move the ball down the field, know that Calvin Ridley is going to be soaking up so many targets and he has a very high level of career efficiency, and just look at Calvin Ridley being one of the top wide receivers in fantasy for pretty much the rest of the season. Okay, so now our next lesson learned is, guys, please, please, please do not hyper-focus in on small sample sizes. We're going to be talking about DeAndre Hopkins here. I don't know how many times I have to talk about this, but I received so many questions this week saying, oh, should I start DeAndre Hopkins? Should I start Kyler Murray? They haven't been elite as of late. And I'm saying, guys, please don't hyper-focus in on the small sample sizes. What we need to do is we need to take a step back. We need to look at their points per game through 2020. We need to look at all the valid data points that we can. And with DeAndre Hopkins, we came away with the conclusion that he was still an elite wide receiver option, a must-start guy in every single lineup. I mean, coming through, just completely dominating in Week 15, winning people their Week 15 matchups, sending them to the Fantasy Football Championships. Let's please use this as a lesson for the future because I am tired of talking about it. All right, so now our next lesson learned is something that I completely overlooked as well. Logan Thomas is the GOAT. I mean, Logan Thomas at a position that provided you no production this season was the best waiver wire option. I mean, coming out here, 13 receptions, over 100 yards off of 15 targets against a very bad Seattle Seahawks passing defense. Y'all know I was all in on Terry McLaurin, and while McLaurin did not necessarily completely disappoint with 7 receptions and 74 yards, I think that I should have been a little bit lower on McLaurin and a little bit higher on Logan Thomas because I was not giving Logan Thomas the respect that he deserved in this offense with his target share. Okay, so now our next lesson learned is Clyde Edwards-Helaire can never be a play in fantasy football. I mean, coming out here in a game where the Kansas City Chiefs were able to effectively move the ball down the field and at the same time put up a ton of points, 14 carries, 83 yards, and a reception. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is just seeing too many snaps. Le'Veon Bell is just seeing too many touches in this offense for us to ever feel confident about putting Clyde Edwards-Helaire into our starting lineups. So here, I think that he is an option that must be on your bench going forward. Okay, so now one last thing that we were wrong on for this week and going forward is it looks like David Johnson does have a nice receiving role in this offense. Not something I was expecting, but he actually had 11 receptions this game. I mean, I disrespected the man. He was someone that I loved in years past, but right now it looks like David Johnson could be that same top fantasy option as he was a few seasons ago. All right, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I hope I'll see y'all in the live stream later this week. Don't know exactly when I can live stream, but I'll try to do it as often as I can for y'all.